hjelpe meg her, eller har han problemer med bilen, Landon Norris? Eller var det det at han har fått så mye gummirester på dekkene at han må prøve å få av de før han kan kjøre fort igjen?
Ja, det var litt brus som sprutet, det var bare av banen.
Det kan han kun bruke når han er under sekunder bak bilen som er foran. Det blir litt det samme som DRS som var i Formel 1.
Hello friends and strangers out there on the internet. Welcome back, and a warm welcome to new subscribers as well. You know, I will never say on this channel, please like and subscribe, because it kind of irritates me. So if anybody has subscribed, it means that they've chosen to do that of their own free will. So that I appreciate. And I also appreciate those who have already subscribed and take the time to watch my videos. You know, I was saying to my daughter the other day, I said, you know, I've noticed that people don't, you know, there's people watching the videos, but there's nobody clicking the thumbs up, I've noticed. And she said, Papa, people just don't do that. She said, don't worry about it, people don't do that. I said, okay. You know, I do think that's kind of baffling to me, because when I watch a YouTube video, I kind of understand what she's saying. You know, we're all so busy these days, aren't we? But I did time myself about clicking a thumbs up button, and I think it came to 0.0001 second to do that. But I know what she means, because I was also like that. I didn't click the thumbs up. But now if I actually like a video, I've kind of trained myself to click the thumbs up, because that's the least you can do if you like a video, isn't it? You know. Anyway, that aside, just want to say thanks for those who do actually press the thumbs up button. And for anyone who writes a comment, that's always helpful in me trying to build this YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm sidetracking here. So this week's video, you'll see that I didn't actually walk down because it's pouring down with rain. Although now I've noticed it's starting to clear up now, but it was just pouring down and I didn't want to get soaking wet. So this is not the video I was expecting to do. So anyway, I drove down, and as I was driving, I thought, yeah, I'll talk about that today. And one of the things that happened when I moved here, because I'm like English moving to a Norwegian land, you know, it's Norway. And this village I live in, called Balestrand, is actually known for artists. And artists moved here in the late 1800s because of the landscape is just so amazing. I mean, it is amazing. And how I came to be here is a subject for another video. But anyway, of course, I'm known in the village as the English artists. Although I see myself as Norwegian these days, you're always going to be a foreigner, I guess, in one way. Although I have been welcomed with open arms in this village because I have learned the language as best as I can. I know I speak it badly, but I understand it 100%. And I've been welcomed in the village like a family member, which is fantastic. But anyway, what local people often say to me, at least in the early days, they would say, Actor, you know, why don't you paint the landscape? I mean, as you see, I don't paint the landscape here. And I thought I was explaining a little bit why I don't do that. First of all, I'm not a landscape painter. I think landscape painters they're kind of born really, you know, they love the landscape and they want to capture the landscape, I guess. But also, the artists of the late 1800s, and one or two actually moved here, and maybe the most well-known Norwegian artist was called Hans Dahl, who actually bought a house here. and lived here, and he was known as Professor Hans Dahl. And actually, just recently there's a book come out about him. See, let me show you here. And he kind of lived here, grew up here, and painted the local area. And really, honestly, I don't think anybody could actually do that job better than him, you know, really. So I'd only ever be like a small person walking in a giant's footprints if I did that. And I'm going to kind of show you what I mean. I've got something planned for you in this video that I was going to use for another video, but I'm going to use it for this video. So I say to people, well, how can I possibly do it better than Hans Dahl? You know, I just can't. He really captured the beauty. And also in the late 1800s, although the camera was invented, it was kind of black and white, weren't they? And artists had the opportunity to use colour, you know, coloured oils, and spread the beauty of this area, you know, around Norway and Europe. And also local people say, you know, if you painted landscapes, Arthur, you would sell more. And so you see, and I say to them, well, the thing is, I kind of like don't fit into that artist category, which I've spoke about in other videos. I'm not really a commercial artist. I don't paint to sell, because if you paint to sell, then it's a product. And I don't see my paintings as a product. You know, I'm more interested. Well, I say to them, art for me is not about selling. It's about having something to say that's worth telling. That's what art is for me. And, you know, life might be more difficult for me to actually sell a painting, but it means that when someone does buy my painting, that they really love that painting, and that means more to me than anything else. I'm diverting again. I have a tendency to babble a bit, guys. So anyway, I drove down, and as I drive down, of course, I see the landscape, you know, in the background, and some amazing landscape here. So that's the two reasons. First of all, I'm not a landscape artist. I'm actually more interested in what makes us human and what it's like for us to live in this reality. And the best way that I can do that is to explore my own experience in this reality, because then that's a pure truth. I'm not painting from somebody else's experiences. I'm painting from my own experiences. And that's the truth for me. If I painted what somebody else described, that's a second-hand description of reality, isn't it? See, again, I'm diverting. So what I wanted to say today is that another reason, the final reason why I don't paint the landscape is because of course we have cameras now, and we can travel, and people can come here themselves on vacation. You know, it's one of the most popular destinations in Western Norway, here in my village called Balestrand. And it was an artist colony. And I feel like I'm actually living inside a landscape painting. And I've got a great way to capture this for you. So yesterday I drove to the nearest town. Like here in this village, we have very limited food stores and clothing stores and small things that you need sometimes. So what local people do is they drive to the nearest town, which is called Sondal, and that's about, you have to get the ferry over the fjord, and it's about 25 minutes drive, something like that. It's not far, and that's a beautiful drive as well, because you're driving alongside the fjord. And yesterday I drove there and it was beautiful, beautiful weather. And as I was driving back, well, my partner was driving, and I was looking at the landscape and I thought, oh, I have to capture some of this landscape on film. So I took the camera out and I started filming. And what I've done is I've pieced together where I'm driving back from Sondal to my village called Balestrand. And you'll see what I mean when you watch this footage, what I mean by living inside a painting. So there's no music. I thought I'll just show you the footage as it is, unedited, and you can see what I mean. This is what I see when I'm driving back from Sondal. So I'll start it from as I'm coming into the ferry terminal, getting off the ferry and driving to my village. So take a look at this. Oh, you're back. Well, I mean, wasn't that amazing? You know, I watched it myself and I just thought, wow, you know what? It just looks so fantastic. And I thought you guys would like that. You know, it feels like you're flying there. So, I mean, honestly, really, could I actually paint, do a painting better than what a camera can capture, or you actually being here? You just can't. So the days I think of painting landscape like Hans Dahl, I think those days are over. And as I say, I'm not. By the way, that doesn't mean that I haven't painted the landscape, because I have. I've done one painting of the landscape here, and that's going to be a subject for next week's video, hopefully, if I don't get diverted or something else happens. So I'm going to leave it there. Very simple video this week, guys. So I need to get some work done. What you heard in the background is I've got my computer on with the Formula One from Hungary, because I'm a big Formula One fan and I like to listen to it in the background while I'm painting. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So as usual, guys, take care, give care, and be careful out there, and don't be strangers, and visit me again on Arthur Reimagined. And click the thumbs up. See you next week.